and 21. Can you do something for me? Can you talk to the
Since the mid-2010s, one of the most talked about narratives in all of music is that Drake has fallen off. Praised for his refreshing takes on hip-hop as a whole with records like Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, and If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, Drake changed the rap game for the better, so to watch one of the most popular artists of all time compromise his musical trademarks to ride out trends and make uncharismatic number one hits like In My Feelings and Way Too Sexy was very hard to witness. Even with his run of lackluster albums, fans remained hopeful Drake would make a comeback, as for every track like the awful Ratchet Happy Birthday and the embarrassing Girls Like Girls, there were songs like Sandra's Rose and Champagne Poetry. After reaching an all-time career low with his embarrassing experiment into house music on Honestly Nevermind, almost all hope for Drake making a comeback was lost, but there was still one thing that fans were holding on to. Honestly Nevermind's outro, Jimmy Cooks, was the sole rap song on the project, and this was one of the best cuts Drake had released in ages. Its flashy trap beat, braggadocious and ego-filled banter, and show-stealing feature from 21 Savage made this cut an instant hit and an instant classic. After releasing the music video for Jimmy Cooks this October, Drake and 21 Savage announced that they would be releasing a collab album titled Her Loss. Teaming Drake up with the artist responsible for his most loved recent hits in Jimmy Cooks and Knife Talk, hope was in the air, but people were still worried that Drake's recent track record would ruin this album too. While fans' worries set them up to be disappointed by yet another Drake release, Her Loss takes us for an experience like nothing else in the 36-year-old rapper's catalog. Through 11 tracks with 21 Savage, 4 Drake solo tracks, and 1 with 21 by himself, Her Loss doesn't just fill the void that fans have been missing for years at this point, but it manages to spur an absolute storm in the process. As soon as we are faced with the intro track Rich Flex, we are slapped into a world of chaos through Drake and 21's bars alluding to all the problems they face in their life due to the lifestyles they embark in every day. From bridges being burned to money being blown, the problems 21 and Drake face at the top are channeled in some of the most cocky and braggadocious performances we've seen from any mainstream hip-hop release in quite some time. The cold-blooded style of 21 Savage plays off Drake's wittiness super well whenever they're trading verses on this LP. A moment like Major Distribution best highlights this, as the pulsing trap beat gives the perfect musical wall for 21 and Drake to bounce off of, and through their overwhelming amounts of swagger to the banterous bars they managed to come up with, there is not a single dull moment on this track, and this principle seems to further define the song No BS. The track is even more of an intense moment that shows Drake and 21 in one of the most hectic environments they have ever been in together, and each verse manages to outdo the previous with their constant flexes and jabs, and when it comes to this pair, this is really the textbook definition of what they do best. What I really love about this track is that Drake asserts that this album is his moment more than anything, as in the second verse of the song, he starts things off with crazy wordplay on how many bars he should do for this verse, and things just get pettier and pettier from here with lines like, "I blow $500,000 on you hoes, I'm a feminist." When it comes to Drake using this leg of the album to show that he is really back, the following track defines what the rest of Her Loss's identity will really be with Back Outside Boys. This song is a melodic trap cut that features Drake excreting some auto-tune vocals, and some of the bars are a little iffy here, as he literally says, "I am an owl, but I will never tell you who," which may be the worst bar I have ever heard, but between the fun musical environment, Lil Yachty ad-libs, and Drake's spirit, which just sounds so excited and passionate to make music again, this song is a really decent moment. The following song, Privileged Rappers, is another special moment on the album with its more tamed environment, and while the instrumental is coated with the same trap drums and undertones that we see on almost every album in today's musical climate, the sample that glues this song together is so elegant, and it almost reminds me of the late Biggie Smalls' Big Papa, as it's just such a smooth sounding cut. Lyrically, Drake and 21's verses are both relatively short, and this song feels like an intermission because of this, but even with the pretty bare bones verses the pair offers, Drake's hook and the track's sonic coding make this a solid moment, and with the song only being a little over 2 minutes, it serves as the perfect bridge to the album's next track, Spin Value. This moment keeps the sound of the record in the smooth and sexy territory with its splashing drums and smooth 90s R&B sample. This is one of those special 21 Savage cuts where his romantic bars and smooth flow creates such a nice treat that we don't often see from him. Even with 21's fantastic performance, Drake is the star of this moment, from his bridge on the track, which features some pretty smooth singing on his end, and then his verse, which is a soft and empathetic love letter to the person this track is dedicated to. As soon as you hear the DJ Paul and Juicy J sample from their track Shake Your Ass Off, you know we're in store for a treat, and Hours in Silence is an extended reflection, which in all regards of the word is a Drake solo track, as 21 Savage only has 6 bars on this entire cut. Now, musically, this song thrives with its intoxicated instrumental and Drake's performance, which spans over the course of 4 verses and almost 7 minutes of runtime. When it comes to Drake's verses on this track, they all loosely follow a relationship he's having with a woman, with the core idea centered around his struggles to become the person he wants her to be. While topically this song does get a little cliche at times, this track is so good musically, and it's really a joy to hear Drake excelling in such an extended and well-layered moment. When it comes to the track Treacherous Little Twin, Drake continues down the line of these melodic, love-centered, intoxicating trap cuts, and in my eyes, this is hands down the weakest song on the entire LP. Now, this is mainly due to its cringy hook from Drake, which I know everybody loves playing into the memes that he's a diva, and all of those other memes right now, and the hook of him regurgitating the awfully redundant phrase, "You my twin, you my twin, you my treacherous little twin," is just the most cringe thing, and I just can't imagine Drake singing this without making the kissy face, and 21 Savage's part of the track is just alright. I mean, it's not bad, but it doesn't do anything that his other performances don't. Sampling Daft Punk's legendary track One More Time, Circo Loco is a super solid, triumphant anthem that just embodies the maddening feeling of success and luxury that Drake and 21 capture when this album is at its best. Drake throws a ton of shade at people on this track, including a shot at Kanye with the bar, linking with the ops did that shit for Jay Prince, which I don't think is true because we all seen the videos of Drake crying at the concert him and Ye had, but that bar is fire nonetheless. 21 is not the best fit for this glossy instrumental, but the song still works well enough to make this one of the tracks that we'll be talking about for a pretty long time. Teaming Drake and 21 up with Travis Scott, Pussy and Millions is an anthem that feels even more victorious with its glowing instrumental that breathes life into every corner of the soundscape. Drake and 21 both deliver great verses in their respective showing, but Travis Scott steals the show with one of the better verses of the year, as it's accompanied by an entire beat switch, and between the evolution of the instrumental, which turns up its psychedelicness to the max, and Travis's vocals, which ride so well over the atmospheric horns, this song is just a moment, and it makes you want Utopia so much more. I really can't wait to hear Travis Scott on another solo album. From this point, the record continues to move back into a more rambunctious direction, with the track Broke Boys being a musical stomp on the competition. The way Drake flips common sayings like "they say you alone at the top, but it's gotta be lonely below" is just the most classic thing Drake can do. And in the second half of this track, Drake continues to stunt on us over a more in-your-face version of the beat we heard in the song's first half. Being another one of the solo Drake songs on this record, Middle of the Ocean is the newest moment that faces us with an extended, almost 5-minute long verse from Drake. Now, this is the moment that defines Drake's performance on this record, as we truly get to see where he is at. He alludes to the same things he has on previous parts of the album, such as his wealth and the bachelor lifestyle. He still lives at 36, but he also alludes to the fact that he may have been arrested in Sweden this summer, and where this track really picks up is in the beat switch, which turns the track in a new direction with a pristine and expensive loop. And here Drake goes into peak petty mode, doing such things as calling Serena Williams' husband a groupie. I'm not a moral judge, and I don't know anything about Serena Williams' husband, but all I'll say is just the balls, the audacity it takes to just come onto a track and call somebody out like this. It is the most petty thing Drake can possibly do. After this track ends with a spoken word outro from the one and only Birdman, we see the filthy produced Drake track Jumbotron Shit Poppin', which is one of the most unique cuts on all of the record, but I don't think it's a good thing for the overall duration of the project, as Drake's auto-tuned vocals are just a little too over the top for me, and when he says bars like 8 a.m. geekin' hard, I'm a real vamp, I just can't take him seriously. Like, Drake, you are 36, bro. You don't want to be a fucking vamp. I mean, do you even know what a vamp is? It's the stuff like this that just makes me lose it when you look at Dre's character, because this is the type of corny shit he'd be doing in real life, and I really just think this is hysterical. Produced by Metro Boomin, More M's feels like the gradual step 21 and the revered producer have taken in the post-Savage Mode 2 era of their careers, and Drake joining them for the ride just makes things more enjoyable. Metro's spacey instrumental layering and 21's grim vocals create the perfect ominous a setting that you would expect from this pair, and Drake kills his verse with a flow that sinks right into your chest, along with his typical swagger and lyrics, which complete the entire package of this fantastic moment. While 21 Savage has felt like the sidekick on most of this album, the fact Drake gave him the newest chapter of his Time series with 3am and Glenwood should show you how much Drake values what 21 does as a whole. In all regards, this is a very special moment in 21's career as he opens up his heart in one of the most vulnerable and revealing ways we've ever seen. From the faint instrumental to 21's commanding vocals, everything he says comes off so direct and powerfully, and hearing his thoughts flow freely in this type of environment makes for one of the best tracks in the entire album, and one of the only moments where we have really been able to see 21 Savage in all of his true essence. Closing out the album, we have the last solo Drake cut, I Guess It's Fuck Me, which is a well-fitted close to an absolute roller coaster ride of an experience. Over a soft piano ballad, Drake gives us his most personal and open verse on Her Loss, where he takes off his mask and what he's been hiding throughout the entire album with lines like, "I would rather live a lie than keep you on the outside." Hearing Drake be so open about the current state of his life, which in a lot of ways is in shambles, is a super strong moment after the ego trip we saw on this record. This outro as a whole ties together Drake's last 3 records, as it ties back to the themes Drake brought up on Certified Lover Boy's intro, Champagne Poetry. But in typical Drake fashion, nothing has changed. Our story has ended in the same place it began. And as fun as this record was to listen to, it really does challenge you to think, is Drake okay? And what's next for him? All in all, Her Loss is one of the better albums of this entire year, and it's hands down Drake's best album since 2015. From the braggadocious trap cuts to the intoxicating melodic anthems, Drake embodies almost everything we love about him in the most concise and focused way we have seen in a very, very long time. While this album is a 21 Savage collaboration project, 21 really feels like an afterthought on this record, as he's missing from a lot of the songs entirely, and a lot of the time his performance on a track is constrained to a fraction of whatever Drake is doing. Still, we need to give 21 his credit for bringing this side out of Drake that's been hiding for so long, as without the hard-hitting, cold-blooded persona that 21 brings time and time again, we would probably be listening to Honestly Nevermind 2, and I don't think a single soul wants to do that. Even with all 21 put into this record, Her Loss is, in all means of the word, a Drake record in terms of sound, style, and the level of performance brought by each artist, and when I look at what 21 represents in terms of this record, he should have just been listed as the album's co-host or reoccurring guest, kind of like the way Ghostface Killah is to Raekwon on the Only Built for Cuban Links albums. Another takeaway I have from this album comes in the form of Drake and the character he shows throughout this record. Now, there has been a lot of buzz around Drake due to all the pettiness he's shown, all of the shots he threw at other people, but all of this is just wild because Drake in 2022 sounds more immature and more incompatible than he ever did on his earlier records, and I mean at this point, Drake almost sounds as bad as Future. I mean, he's given him a run for his money in a lot of ways. Regardless of how you take this performance on Drake's character, the experience he and 21 have given us is truly exciting, and it's a titan in a mainstream landscape that is filled with mostly uninspired and generic experiences. Before we get into my rating of Her Loss, I will be ranking the track list, which looks like at 16, we have Treacherous Twins, It's Awful, don't listen to it. At 15, we got Jumbotron, Shit Poppin', this song was also cringe, these 2 tracks should have been cutting off the record. 14, we got Back Outside Boys. 13, we got Rich Flex. At 12, we got Privileged Rappers. At 11, we got Hours in Silence. At 10, we got I Guess It's F Me. At 9, we got Spin 'Bout You. At 8, we got Circo Loco. At 7, we got 3am in Glenwood. 6, we got More M's. At 5, we got Pussy and Millions. At 4, we got Broke Boys. At 3, we got Major Distribution. At 2, we got Middle of the Ocean. And at 1, we have On BS. Now, for all of the reasons I have said, I will be giving Her Loss a score of a 7.7 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching. Be sure to let me know if you agree with my score in the comments below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell while you're at it. It helps out the channel a ton, and we got a lot more content coming, so please be sure to keep tuning into our videos. It means the world. Mr. Fantastic, Fantastic Hip Hop, signing out. Have a great day.